If you are traveling, if you're not in your normal environment and your setup, you need to understand you're at a disadvantage. How much would it suck if you're on a vacation with your family and you think that from your single laptop that you're going to be able to do the same as if you're someone with a multi-monitor setup at home, and you end up losing a bunch of money on your family vacation.
It's really hard to keep the money. You can make money, hard to keep it. That's one of the way how I'm trying to protect me from myself, not from the market. So that's something that I saw it's working for me. Stick to it until it stops.
Do you completely ignore the leaderboard until the competition's over?
Yeah, that's and the discipline. I'm trying to manage my feelings. So when I start feeling that I need to trade, I don't trade. It's easy now, I'm getting caught sometimes with that, but that's something that I've learned with my trading fellas. I think the discipline is the key.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone, for our SoTime PMC challenge that we had in February. I have the second place winner, which you should know from the first place winner in one of our last tournaments, which is Lazar. It's going to be a very interesting story where he was actually away for the final days of the competition and ended up getting in second place because everyone else was blowing their minds out trying to get first place. So I think there'll be a good lesson we'll go over there. If you want kind of the introduction to Lazar and how he trades and the room he's in and everything, we will link to below the first time we had him on, which was with the first competition. So this is just kind of a follow-up and another conversation with a really cool trader that I do love chatting with. So welcome back to the channel and congratulations again showing up in the leaderboard in second place. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah, glad to be here again. That one, the last one, was really amazing competition. So it was something new to me as well because, as you know, I was traveling, so
Yeah.
I was unable to sit here in my office and follow the market. So most of the time I was using like the McDonald's Wi-Fi or airport Wi-Fi. And Wi-Fi, there it's not so good, so it was hard.
Yeah, but still, you got second place, and the reason I wanted to bring you on is again, I enjoy chatting with you. So every time I see you on the leaderboard, I'm probably going to bug you. But I like it when we see kind of repeat offenders on the leaderboard, and I love that because it shows that the way to win these competitions or trading competitions in general is not like just YOLOing into whatever and hoping you get lucky and winning, or we wouldn't see the same people kind of over and over again. So when it came to, I think the last challenge that you won wasn't a short only competition, but we allowed shorting. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. I was only shorting, but it was short and long. This
Right.
one was only short, I believe.
Exactly. So it was interesting to see that when a competition that hit your trading style again happened, again, you were back on the leaderboard. I saw you there, I think, right from day one and then pretty much to the end.
Yeah.
So I just want to quickly go over strategy. Did you change anything from your initial strategy, or are you just trading exactly the same as you were last time we chatted?
No, not much. The only thing that I changed was sizing because I was unable to handle the size like last time. So I think even last time was like I was first place. I was like something like millions. This time was a much less. And this time the market was a bit different, so we had a lot of movers. So I'm shorting, so for me that would mean squeeze. So I was a bit of careful what should I short. So stock selection and sizing was my main focus, but strategy was the same like the last time.
Yeah, and I think that's so that helps hammer home my point that one saying I like is that there's no gurus, only cycles, which just means that regardless of your strategy, there's going to be periods of time in the market, or there's going to be, in this case, rules in a competition in which you're really going to shine. And then there's going to be times where, things just don't go so well. And our jobs as traders to recognize those and know when to, really go for the throat and say, okay, this is a time that's working. Let's really hit it. My strategy is just on fire. And then these are times where my strategy might not be doing the best, trade smaller, back off, manage risk. So you mentioned the market difference. Now, I remember in this particular competition, like you mentioned, there was a lot of these low float stocks that were squeezing
Yeah.
incredibly and they weren't coming back down. So, what did you notice with the difference in the two competitions, and how do you adapt kind of when you're seeing things that are working or not working in the market?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm traveling, I'm still bringing with me like two portable monitors. So I still have like, three windows, and I'm still using the Great Ideas to catch the movers. I mean, without that, I really cannot trade and other stuff. So yeah, when I'm noticing that market is hot, and also I'm starting in the pre-market, so
Yeah.
I'm starting to feeling the market a bit before it's open. So when I'm seeing that, for example, that market is hot, and when I'm in hot, the things are going up for most of the in the low flow sectors. I'm just trying to adapt my way of approach. So I'm trying to go with smaller size, uh, managing my risk. So taking loss and waiting for the right enter is also, part of the game. So I would not, and also if there is no move, for example, if
Yep.
there is no move and only two of the stocks, let's say, are main, and everyone is attacking them, I would wait. I would give a time before I even think to enter. So I will not look at it at that stock. So even if I'm not, I know that I see them on a scanner. I will not look at it because if I'm looking, I can start checking the filings, readings, and minutes after I may be in with a small size. So and I don't like that. So and in this case, I was traveling, so I was like really really disciplined. Like I was trying.
I think there's a whole bunch of takeaways from that, which are great. One is that if you are traveling, if you're not in your normal environment and your setup,
Yeah.
when technology,
Mhm, yeah.
yeah, you need to understand that you're at a disadvantage, and you need to make sure that you're trading accordingly. Because how much would it suck if you're on a vacation with your family and you think that from your single laptop that you're going to be able to do the same as if you're someone with a multi-monitor setup at home, and you end up losing a bunch of money on your family vacation. That's gonna make things.
Oh man, that's happened to me last year, so I know what you're talking about. You can ruin your whole vacation only
Yeah.
because you try something new or you didn't follow your rules, discipline.
Well, and especially it helps. There are some trading styles and philosophies that you can do easier mobile, and that would be more, swing trading or long term. But if
Mhm.
you are a focused day trader, the whole, social media thing of, I've got my iPad on the beach and I'm making hundreds of thousands of
Yeah,
dollars a day, generally not the way it works. Because as you're mentioning, you're loading up your trade ideas in the pre-market where we're scanning as soon as the market or the pre-market opens, we're scanning, this is what's moving and this is what's going on and all that. So I love that. And I love the adaptation to the market. So I guess the difference is, and just something I want to point out and confirm with you for our audience, is when you're saying the market, a lot of people think of like the S&P 500 or the Dow. You're not thinking of it that way. You're more looking at the stocks, the universe in which you trade, and how that universe is acting. Is that right?
yes, yes, correct. Sorry, so I need to be specific. I'm looking at the S&P 500, but I don't really care. Even maybe if it's dropping or going up, that can make a difference. But when I'm saying the market, so I have my own pre-built scanner. I mentioned in the previous video that.
Yep.
So based on that, if I see that a lot of stocks are moving based on my criteria, for me that can be like a hot market, a hot day, hot market. So a lot of things happening. So I need to be more selective. So that's when stock selection came to play, and that's something that is really important. Even like for example, this morning a pre-market scanner was pretty dead. Let's call it like that.
Hmm.
So maybe there was a few stocks, and none of them was hitting my criteria. But for example, if you trade one of them, like for example, back, the ticker name back, I will get squeezed, right? So and I didn't trade that, so I avoided. Uh, but it was on my scanner, so it was hitting my one of my scanner criteria. So
Yeah.
those kind of stock selection I'm talking about when I'm doing. And when you're traveling and you're not, in your office, it's a bit harder because you're feeling the FOMO, you're feeling you want to jump in. I was watching the leaderships and I saw, I'm getting fourth, fifth. So yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, the back
So it's
back right here. I just wanted to show that. But yeah, and that's it's funny. So when I spoke to David, who's again, we'll link that video in the description below, and we were talking a little bit off screen, and I was saying, hey, I was interviewing someone in your room. He actually complimented you on your stock selection. He said, I think what separates Lazar from a lot of people out there is he is very diligent in picking the right things to trade. And so, that was a props you got from
yeah.
him. And yeah, it looks it makes perfect sense to me because there's sayings out there in trading that you're only as good as the stocks that you trade, right? The people who come in every day and they want Apple to move, it's like, well, some days it's going to move and some days it's going to die, and it doesn't matter if you're the greatest trader in the world. If you're focusing on stuff that's not moving, you're not going to make any money.
That's something that I learned from David, to be honest. So I was always disciplined. I'm coming from these sports, uh, but yeah, that's something that I mean. I think it's really hard to keep the money, right? I mean, you can make a money, but it's hard to keep it.
Yeah.
So that's one of the way how I'm trying to protect me from myself, not from the market. I mean, for myself. So that's something that I saw it's working for me, and I'm stick to it until it stops. Then I will adapt. Like
Yeah.
like
That's great. So again, not to go in, I know we can't give a whole lesson on how you do everything, but can you give the people some tips on, as someone who's really good at selecting stocks, just like maybe a checklist of two or three things in the open that will help them narrow down if they are interested in your style of shorting these low float names. A couple names that they could, or just a couple things that they could look for and say, okay, this is a stock I should focus on versus a stock I should pass on.
yeah, like I can say it now. I mean, I can say it. I mean, it's already known. Even David was mentioning with you, and it's already out. So, like for example, we all know that Chinese stocks are squeezing much higher than the other stocks, and there is a reason why, and everyone can look it up and conclude why. But
Hmm.
for example, if let's say Chinese stocks, you see a stock, if it's Chinese, don't short it. You can, but if you want to short, don't go with huge size. Go with smaller size. You can expect bigger squeeze. Then dilutions, if stock have dilution, does and stuff like that. It's the way how I'm selecting the stocks from the pre-market or the intraday scanners. So if I see the stock and see the Chinese, I will just skip it because it's a headache. It will squeeze from 1 to 2 to 3, 4, 5, and then it will go down, and it's like you can make a lot of money, and I know that traders are making a bunch of money on Chinese stocks, but me, I I guess I cannot handle that. So I'm sticking to the easy place.
Well,
US stocks, based in US, uh, they cannot do the sketchy stuff, So if they squeeze a lot, something must happen behind. You can go check the filings. Just try to guess. Let's say guess what's happening, and also I'm avoiding like nano float. Like for example, if the stock have less than 1 million float, it's hard to short that because someone can squeeze you, or even
yeah.
other traders squeeze you. So that's something. But if you're trading with smaller size, you, 1 to 5 million, you can still trade it with no issues.
Okay. So a couple, and just for people who are, let me see if this works. Perfect.
Mhm.
So for people who are Tradia subscribers, just going to give you a little bit of a tip there, just for what Lazar was talking about. So first of all, right off the bat, we have, and my knowledge of US or world flags has gotten so much better since we've added this. On the chart itself here, up in the corner, we actually have the flag of the country. So that's a quick way to go through when you're going through and looking and saying, okay, if I don't see a US flag there, basically Lazar is saying, and I hear this a lot, right? If it's a
Mhm.
Chinese company, there's just so many more games and things that they could do with accounting and even worse. And then also just the float, right? So we have that listed here. So this back that you were talking about before has a 1 million share float. So that would probably be another reason to say, okay, this is a micro float and can go pretty wild on this one. So just some tips if people want to take what you mentioned there and
Yeah,
just practically use
yeah,
it, right? We have the float right on the chart, and we also have the country flag, and I think that
yeah.
helps out as well.
Yeah,
S
so you can, yeah, that's the great way of the. So in this case, you need to be quick, right? I mean, we traders, we need to be quick,
yeah,
and we need. So this is the great way, the trade ideas. So it's showing you everything. You can see the float. Like this
hmm
is 1 million float. So for me personally, this is something that I'm, I will not jump to it. Uh, but here, yeah, you can see a flag, you can see the float, you can see the volume, you can see the market cap, you can see the history. You have clear charts,
yeah,
because I know that some of the brokers don't have like clear charts, so it's mess. And you guys, you did that really good. Like it's white background, green and red,
yeah.
so you can see really really clear. That's something that I like it with trade ideas. Like you adapt it to the traders, not to the, because on the end we are the one who are using it, but
Yeah, and
that's something for
it,
them.
that's one thing that was, very purposeful from the beginning and is still something we do now is that, myself and basically everyone you see publicly facing in trade ideas is a trader in some respect. We all have different styles and things we look for and time frames and all that. But yeah, if you threw a bunch of devs in a room and said built a trading platform, it might not look what you would actually want to see, right? You have to have the end user as part of the people who are demanding stuff.
But
Now,
just to say something maybe that can help some of the traders, like for the back, for example, I didn't. So that that company also need a cache. That's something that So they need a cache. That's something that you cannot check it here, but if you go and check the filings, you can see that they need a cache, right? So if they need a cache, they most probably will try to raise it somehow. And if they are trying to raise it, they will try to go with the dilution most of the time,
okay,
right? So
yeah,
that's the one of the play that they can do it. When I say they, I mean the underwriters, company owner, whoever, So people will, we traders, we can play long or short. So most of the trade, there is a long traders who know that and they will play long here. So, but if you don't have big capital, if you don't cannot handle the big risk, the best is to avoid similar players, and you can stay in the game longer. So you can learn maybe, and
yeah, and I think that's important because so basically what Lazar is mentioning there is that if I am a CEO of a company and I have no money left and I see that my stock has just tripled, well, I am very quickly getting on the phone with the underwriters and I'm saying you have to issue more shares and you have to sell those to the public, which is what we meant dilution, so that every shareholder owns less of the company. So you're having the company as a seller and the company as overhead supply. And they're usually selling big and they're taking advantage of this up move in price. So yeah, having a company that is somewhat healthy financially and doesn't need to do that would mean that they can let it go for longer. Now eventually any company who's up an insane amount of money is going to use that as a chance to issue new shares.
yeah, to survive. Yeah, they need to, and also, and if you keep the track of it, let's say in the next month we see back again active in the pre-market, and let's say now float is not 1 million, it's 5 million. They diluted 4 million last time, so that's how that's the way to learn. So if you were alive last month, when I say alive, I mean you were here
Yep.
trading,
Yeah.
and you didn't blow up, because you were like selective, you will see that those kind of stuff are really happening, and then you can dive in and learn more how they are doing, why, how to do it. And there is a lot of books, there is a lot of free research online you can learn. Do they need to register the offering, how they are doing that and stuff like that. But you need to be alive so you can learn, because most of the people, when they grow up, they just go back and start doing whatever they did before the training.
Yeah. Or jumping strategies, which I find happens so often.
Exactly. Yeah.
One day I'll talk to someone. He said, "Oh, I'm an options trader now, and I'm selling strangles." And then the next day, "Oh, I'm shorting these low float." And then the next day, he's like, "Well, it's like if you don't stick with a strategy long enough, then you don't have the nuance of what it is to do." But
Yeah.
you mentioned blowing up, so I think this is a perfect example or perfect time to go into the competition because we are having another one soon. So, as someone who's
Mhm.
won one and got second place another time, I want to get your kind of tips for people out there. But first of all, I'm going to bring this up because this was, again, I found this hilarious in which here in which so this is Lazar at second place, and you had
Yeah.
mentioned that you were flying out and you're like, oh, I won't really be able to compete in the last day, and I think you were, I don't know, third or fourth place or something then. But what
Yeah.
we
We were.
noticed, yeah, what we noticed throughout the day is that the winner was up, $1 million, and maybe there was someone else who was also up $1 million. But everybody competing so hard to win caused them to kind of completely blow up and get removed from the competition
Yeah.
entirely. So you got second place, not even at your screen.
Yeah, I mean it's funny, but if you ask my girlfriend, I just told that to her on the airport. I was telling her I will wait before the closing, because I know, because this is my, I think, fourth competition so far, and this happened to me before. You're starting to have some kind of FOMO, or I don't know what's happening, but and then you start to jumping on everything, and that's the same with the real account. I mean, even if it's not paper trading, that's how people blown up. And yeah, I think the traders who were first, second, third, they are most probably the good traders, but they just got blown up, and maybe they should try it again next time and just try to be more disciplined, like selective and disciplined. How did they get to the second place with their strategy? They try to keep that until the end. No matter the cost. If they ended like fourth, it doesn't matter. They still, they have a good playbook. They have a good mentality behind the trading.
Yeah, so you're right. Outside of the competition, they should continue to do exactly what they did because hey, if you can have a 3 day competition, you can be nicely green at the end of that. Then where it really matters in the real world, you should just stick to it. But just talking about the competition in general, how do you avoid, as someone who's kind of seasoned in it, how do you avoid that FOMO? Because you're right, I could have very easily seen, you actually winning if everyone got so competitive that they end up blowing themselves up. So do you completely ignore the leaderboard until the competition's
Yes.
over?
Yeah, that's yeah, yes, and the discipline. So I'm trying to manage my feelings. So when I start feeling that I need to trade, I don't trade. It's hard. It's easy now. Now
Hmm.
it's easy when we are saying like it. I'm getting caught sometimes with that, but that's something that I've learned with my trading fellas, and the one like the David that you interviewed before. Uh, I think the discipline is the key. Like if you treat this really seriously, then you need to treat this seriously. But yes, when you feel the FOMO, just don't trade. Maybe someone need to close the laptop and go out. Maybe someone need to tell the girlfriend, "Hey, please stop me." But you need to be honest, and that's another issue, with the traders. And we are humans and we are males, so we want to compete. We don't like
Yeah.
to lose. When we lose, we feel like that should not happen, but it should. not big, but it should. So
Yeah.
I'm fighting with it every day, like everyone. But
Well, and I think you should fight with it. You will fight with it every day, right? I don't think there's
yeah,
anything you can do about it. I think it will be kind of something that you have to deal with. But again, I love the advice of completely ignoring the leaderboard. And I mentioned this before, but when I started to trade at the prop firm, back in 2006, so ages ago, I walked in and everyone had tape all on their screens. And I remember asking one day what's going on,
mhm,
and they're actually taping up their P&L, like wherever the P&L would show on their screen, they would tape it. And then they would just leave the window behind the tape until the end of the day. And then they'd move it in. They'd say, okay, I want it, I want to know how I'm up. I don't even want to see my P&L throughout the day because I want to be, just entirely focused on the price action. So, I love that you do that so that you're not getting caught up in all of these. And again, I just think it's super poetic that you being gone ended up getting you a second place, just
yeah,
because, right, everyone's just, again, like you mentioned, males just beating their heads against each other,
yeah.
and,
That's
hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, simulated money, but
yeah.
hundred thousands of
Yeah.
dollars down the
But
drain.
still, you feel, yeah, you feel the. Also, I think the good thing can be when you're trading with less money. Let's say not the prop money or the thousands, like the less money. Uh, what I'm doing when I see a profit, I'm taking it and I'm going. So nail and bill, like the phrase that they're saying. When I
Hmm.
see the profit, I'm taking it and I'm done. Even if that's drop more, yeah, I feel like, man, I should hold a bit more, but most of the time in small caps, I'm seeing the opposite way. Like I'm seeing, hey, it's good that I was out because it's so easy to do the sketchy thing here in this small cap world. It's like you need to be careful. So I think take your profit and wait for the next one. We have scanners; they're perfect. So just wait.
Yeah, there'll be another one. But it's funny,
Yeah.
I hear all the time, just constantly from traders that I'm interviewing. The biggest complaint that successful traders seem to have is, oh, I'm always out too early. And it's one of those things
Mm,
that if I hear enough people that I know are doing well say I'm out too early, then it makes me think more and more being out too early is actually probably the move, because you're right.
yeah.
You've secured your profit, you've moved back to cash, and mentally when you're back to cash, it's like, okay, I've got a victory under my belt. I've got a win. I can take a breath, and I think that allows the mental agility to go to the next one,
True,
because yeah, over and over. I think David said the same thing. It's just over and over again. Oh, I could have made more if I held. Oh, I could have made more if I held. And if I was hearing
yeah.
a whole bunch of losing traders say that, I'd be like, okay, maybe that's something to work on. But when I hear a whole bunch of winner trading saying it, then I'm like, okay, it's probably a good way. You're battling greed, I think, at that point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but when you're red, it's like it's so hard to take a loss and leave. It's not for me personally. It's not like
Hmm.
when I see a profit, I'm taking and I'm out. When you're red, it's a bit harder. But that's you can help you with if you have a stop loss or you have broker stop or something like that. That can help you, like
Yeah.
because it's hard to be this, or you need to have someone like you've been in prop trading firms. If you have someone next to your head, like out, you will be out. If he said go out, exit, you will exit because it's your manager or whatever. He's like you need to listen to him. But when you are alone in
Hmm.
your office, it's hard. So I think broker stop loss, any kind of stop loss, the best way. It can save you.
Yeah, I think definitely broker stop loss, and what we mean by that is that most brokers you can call up and you can say, if my P&L is negative X in a day, I want you to just shut down the
No, yeah,
account till tomorrow.
yeah,
Just
shut me
no,
down.
yeah, yeah, get everything out. I can't place any more trades. I'm out until tomorrow. And as hard as that is for most people, you're right. When I trade a prop, there was a guy. He was the only one with an
Mhm.
office, and he was the risk manager. And you'd
Yeah,
see him
risk
come out
management.
of the office, and you'd be like, "Oh shit, who messed up?" And
Yeah.
he'd tap someone on the shoulder and just point to the door. He's just like, "Great, come back tomorrow, but you're
Mm.
you're done. You're done right now." And as
So,
much
yeah,
as as much as you'd curse the guy and you'd say, "Oh, if I just had more time, I would make it all back," or so. In reality, it's 99% the thing that you should have done, because you would have just continued to go on tilt and lost more and more and more. So, yes, you had a bad day, but right, there's always tomorrow, right? So that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
And if the professional people are doing that, we need to do it. Like we
Yeah.
retailers, we need to. So we need to have the risk management somehow. So
Yeah.
that's the only way, I think.
Well, awesome. So listen, I love having you on these. I hope you're going to compete in the next one.
Yeah. Well, most
Okay.
likely yes.
We don't know
I
the
hope
rules
time.
yet. I'd like to
Yeah.
give you a little bit of a sneak peek on the rules,
Yeah.
but
No, it's
we
better to wait to see.
yeah, we need to you need to wait for it like everyone else to see the rules because I don't even know them yet. And Dan Dan will make them up one day in his sleep, and that will be the rules for everyone. So
Yeah.
again, I appreciate. Is there? I asked you last time. There wasn't. Is there anywhere that people can find you? Are you putting your thoughts out there anywhere?
And no, I'm using the Instagram only, but the Instagram is I'm sharing the trading stuff, but I'm also traveling, so I'm sharing the travel stuff. But no, I'm not doing that. I
You
have a
sh-
small community, so if anyone wants, if anyone feels like we have the similar way of trading, they can reach out to David. We have a small community, so you can learn a lot. It's like everyone is sharing something there on the Discord. And he have
Mhm.
a YouTube podcast as well.
Okay.
It's good.
And I'll link that down below. But yeah, you should
Yeah,
start. I don't know, Substack or something. Write your thoughts. I think people would love to see that. But
yeah.
again, thanks again.
Actually,
If you're on, and which I know you probably will be if you're on the leaderboard again next time, I hope you'll come back. Again, these are always
yeah,
super fun.
I hope so. Yeah.
Awesome. Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye.